Pastor Monica, it's good to meet with you again to discuss, to continue our discussion on the history of our church. Our first video ended in 1887, and at that point our early leaders had incorporated as a Methodist Episcopal Church of West Grove. Trustees had purchased a parcel of land on Prospect Avenue, but the land was vacant and the trustees began to make plans to actually build a sanctuary. Our early history tells us that the trustees actually met monthly, and much of the discussion centered on raising the funds necessary to build a church. They were quite successful in less than a year's time. In summer of 1888, the trustees had raised through both gifts and loans over $2,500, which was well over half of the estimated cost of construction, between $3,000 and $4,000. Groundbreaking ceremonies up on Prospect Avenue were held in August 1888, and over 100 people were in attendance. Actually, as a fundraiser, they permitted people to take a shovelful of dirt, and the local papers reported that a number of people participated and, quote, each threw out a shovelful of dirt amid much enthusiasm. So the next big celebration came in October 1888 with the laying of the cornerstone. About 80 people came out to see the granite date stone put in place in the corner of the building. And that day was described by one of our church members who actually attended as a damp and cheerless day. 5 pastors actually participated in the cornerstone laying ceremonies. A couple examples. Pastor Downey from Philadelphia came out and he spoke on the history of Methodism in America. And a Reverend Taylor of Kennett Methodist highlighted his speech, sort of the contributions of the members of the congregation. And he was quoted as saying, he was highlighting the enterprise, worth, and great merit of Methodists, unquote. It really sounded like it was a pretty exciting ceremony, again, with 80 people participating in a celebration of the laying of the date stone. Equally interesting is that the date stone actually harbored a time capsule. The members of the church at that time, so this again is 1888, they included in the date stone copies of local newspapers, a Methodist Book of Discipline, a Bible, a hymnal, a church history as of that point, and a list of the early members of the church who were actually members of the church in 1888. So this treasure chest of items was hidden in the date stone in 1888 in hopes that somewhere in the future its contents would be recovered by the congregation. So stay tuned. We'll look at that again in the future.
So the construction of this 28 by 45 foot red brick church was the spired bell tower and took about a year. Finished at the cost of $3,500 for the building and $200 for the furnishing. The church building was dedicated September 15th, that was a Sunday, in 1889. At the time, the church only had about 36 members, but it was said the sanctuary was filled to capacity. Now, it was said the weather did not cooperate. It poured rain for most of the day, and one member of the church who attended the dedication ceremony described her experience this way, quote, "Unfortunately, the day did not provide a most auspicious one. As far as the temperature and humidity were concerned, and for while the sun was shining hot, the rain descended in turrets, almost at regular intervals, making traveling, that would have been by horse and carriage, anything but pleasant. But when the organ set forth its first peals, everything looked bright and cheery." There were 3 worship services that day, the actual dedication in the afternoon, as they often were. Reverend Charles Langley, that pastor who had helped organize those first class meetings, he was the one who delivered the sermon at the dedication ceremony, and it was Bishop Thomas Neely of Philadelphia who formally transferred the property to those incorporated 9 trustees.
When I think about the construction of our first church back in 1889, I can't help but compare it to our experience as a congregation when we built this property, we built this building in 1999, 110 years later. I know many of us, and I often would come out here on a daily basis or a weekly basis and monitor construction, to see the walls going up, to walk through the sanctuary when it was just studs and no drywall yet or anything, to walk in the Sunday school classroom, just to get a feeling for what our new worship space would be like. And as I listened to the story of construction of the church in 1889, I wondered, did they do the same thing? Did they get on the horse or hook up the carriage and ride up Prospect Avenue to monitor construction? Did they go to see, are the brick walls up yet? Have the stained glass windows been installed? Is the slate roof on the building? And I'm sure they did. I'm sure they looked at the excitement of the building of that first church, just like we looked at and had anticipated the excitement of having a new place of worship here on Guernsey Road in West Grove. So, well, anyway, back to a couple additional points about our Prospect Avenue location. For the first 5 years, the bell tower was empty. It was silent. It wasn't until 1894 that a bell was actually hung in the church tower. But once installed, the West Grove newspaper, which was West Grove Independent, reported that we were the first church in town to ring a bell to announce the start of Sunday services. Second point is that, again, we're back in 1889, 1890, in that time period. We had a church building, but we didn't have a place for our pastor to live. So in 1903, we began construction of a parsonage on land adjoining the church. It also took about a year to construct the parsonage at a total cost of just over $2,700. All the furniture for the parsonage was purchased and donated by the Ladies' Aid Society. So just like today, the early church benefited from the hard work, the generosity, and the commitment of the ladies of the church.